With a volatile global landscape and increased life expectancy, protecting your wealth throughout your life has never been more challenging. Sheri MacMillian, founder and CEO of MacMillan Estate Planning, is here to share her expertise. Nice to see you, Sheri. Making a wealth plan is more essential now than ever. What are some of the popular strategies families are using to protect their wealth?
Well, it's really nice to be with you today, Leslie. And families are using a very traditional tool that we've used since basically the 14th century in England. And we've been using this tool for about 200 years in Canada. And the tool is called a trust. And what a trust does is it privatizes and protects our estates, not just for the legacy we're leaving behind for our children, but also for ourselves through our retirement phases of life. Because we are living to age 100 nowadays, it's really important that we safeguard and protect our asset base that we've created and crafted, because we're going to need to use it through retirement. So then it serves a multi-purpose. It also can provide governance for our family, meaning that we can set up all kinds of parameters on how the wealth could be utilized. And this is very common in modern times. I used to see people put the ages of 20 and 25 in for children to have access to the estate. And I'm seeing 30 and 35 nowadays in modern families because we're getting married later in life and so forth. But in addition, not only that, it provides an easy wealth transfer to the next generation without the course of probate, which is a very protective way for our loved ones to receive our estate. And lastly, I always like to mention, because it provides governance, it does give us protection as families in our modern society where we have mental health issues and addiction. And so we want to build in safeguards so that our wealth doesn't harm our family, but also encourages harmony.
Encouraging harmony is the name of the game. As we approach some tax fall changes, which we're going to get to in a moment, how are wealthy families planning for those anticipated tax increases?
Well, let's share the top three. There's many more, but the top three that I encourage every family to take advantage of, Leslie, is the first one is called the Maximum Tax Actuarial Reserve. In English, I call it the giant tax-free savings account for your estate. And in Canada, we're allowed to have 25% of our estate's value of our total net worth grow tax-free for the generations to come. So if I have an estate, for example, worth 10 million, 2.5 million of it can grow tax-free during my lifetime, and then I can wealth transfer that to my loved ones. So for those of us that have maximized our RRSP or our tax-free savings account, this is a fantastic tool for the next step. The next area is, of course, if we've designed a family trust for our estate, we have the privilege then to do some tax planning by income splitting our wealth and our annual income amongst our entire family unit. And that could even include, for example, our grandchildren, which is always wonderful because they're often in university and have low income. So we can pay less tax on the total overall revenue that we're having in the estate. And lastly, for business owners, the reason I really like the trust mechanism is because we can lock in the value of your business while you're still young and shifting into retirement. And then the continued growth on your business doesn't add additional tax to your estate in the decades to come. And instead, that particular business can transfer to your loved ones. And it's not until they sell the business that we actually have to incur and pay that income tax. So we could defer tax potentially for 1 or 2 generations, which is a phenomenal opportunity that we have here in Canada.
Right. And can you briefly expand on those upcoming tax changes for the fall?
Certainly. I think one of the things that we always have to be cognizant of is that in order to plan our tax appropriately, we need to be proactive. And so we still have a quarter of the year left upcoming. And so we want to make sure that you are doing all the strategic work you can do before the end of December, because that type of tax minimization that you're doing in your estate compounds year over year over year. And so most families think about estate planning and they think about tax planning, let's say in the year of passing, decades in the future. But if you do annual tax planning in your estate, what happens is your estate expands and multiplies and compounds, just like good investment planning does, and you minimize those taxes that your family will owe in the long run. So sooner is always better than later in protecting our estates, Leslie.
Okay, good advice, Sheri. Thank you for joining us. And MacMillan Estate Planning is hosting a complimentary webinar on Thursday, September 25th, 6:30 p.m., the Fairmont Palliser, or online. To reserve your virtual attendance, visit macmillanestate.com or 1-833-266-6464.
Global News Ask the Expert is brought to you by MacMillan Estate Planning, safeguarding significance. Visit macmillanestate.com. This program is brought to you